Not long ago, the Shade Room broke a story that caught serious attention online. A woman in Atlanta was posing as a real estate agent, specifically targeting black women and listing luxury apartments she had absolutely no legal right to rent out. The story first gained traction when a TikTok creator known as I Love Pure 2 went public about her own experience with this woman. She had reached out to this so-called realtor looking for a place to live. Keep in mind, she's a mother with children depending on her. But from the beginning, something felt off about the whole arrangement. The pitch went something like this: pay a deposit, meet in person, receive the keys directly, and the unit is yours. Simple, straightforward, trustworthy sounding. So the realtor agreed to lower the deposit from $500 down to $250, making it seem even more reasonable. The money was sent, and then she vanished. The apartment was never real. The money was gone. But the scammer made one critical mistake. She used her real name to receive the payment through Zelle. That name was Jakira Hester. A quick Google search pulled up her full history, including a prior arrest record for fraud. Her own mugshot surfaced immediately. As one person put it online, if you're going to run a scam in Atlanta, the first rule is don't use your government name. Now, this wasn't an isolated case. Around the same time, another woman was being exposed for a different kind of scheme, convincing black women to open business credit cards under the promise of fix and flip real estate investments. Victims described giving everything they had in savings, only to watch the promises fall apart once the money changed hands. Janine Searcy, who runs a platform called Black Girls in Real Estate, helped bring this story forward. Hundreds of thousands of dollars were reportedly lost. Once the Shade Room covered it, the woman at the center of it disabled comments across her social media, a familiar move for someone trying to control the narrative. There are others, too. Names like Stormy Wellington have surfaced in similar conversations around alleged financial misconduct. What stands out is a pattern. Most of these schemes aren't targeting black men, they're targeting black women. In hair salons, braiding shops, investment seminars, and mentorship circles, and there's a reason for that. Black women represent one of the most powerful consumer forces in the black community. They drive spending in ways that are well documented, and that economic presence makes them a deliberate target. This isn't a knock on black men's financial contributions, but statistically, black women are among the highest spending demographics across categories like beauty, food, fashion, faith communities, and entrepreneurship. Predators follow money, and these schemes are dressed up carefully, wrapped in language of empowerment, sisterhood, and opportunity. What makes this even more uncomfortable to unpack is the broader cultural tension it exposes. In many conversations within the black community, there's a dominant narrative, the black man as the one falling behind, absent, irresponsible, and the black woman as the backbone, the leader, the one holding everything together. But here's the thing that gets overlooked. These individuals often come from the same households, the same neighborhoods, the same environments, so the framing deserves a more honest examination. And when you start pulling at the thread of predatory behavior specifically aimed at black women, from fake realtors to fraudulent investment coaches to elected officials like Tiffany Henyard, who was accused of using black women's support to gain political power, only to turn around and disrespect those same women, a much darker pattern begins to take shape.
Bad enough that as black women, we are often alone or the first in our roles. We are fighting against systems and people who don't want us there. What makes it worse is when there are other black women in place that are making our lives.
I know exactly where this is going. And some of you might think I'm stretching here, but stay with me. I'm not reaching. This is all building towards something. Just give it a moment.
Black women out there that are traumatized by other black women. So when we see other black women, a lot of times we don't want to be friends with them. We don't want nothing to do with them or whatever, because they remember that a lot of times their first bullies were black.
There's a common assumption that black women simply don't trust black men. But the fuller picture is more complicated than that. In reality, A significant number of black women also carry a deep mistrust of other black women. It just doesn't get talked about as openly. Here's something I've noticed over time. When someone singles out the opposite gender as their primary problem, if you look a little closer, you'll usually find that they have friction with people across the board, men and women alike. It rarely stops at one group. A person who genuinely has unresolved issues with black men will often have those same tensions surface in their relationships with other women too. The gender focus is almost like a cover. And this tension between black women toward each other, it doesn't always show up in obvious ways. On the surface, there can be a strong sense of unity and solidarity, especially when there's a common cause. Whether that's pushing back against mistreatment, standing against gender-based violence, or rallying around shared values, the alignment can look genuine and powerful in those moments. But underneath that, the undercurrent of mistrust has always been there. I used to hear things, comments, attitudes, the way certain situations were handled, that made it clear this wasn't just about black men at all.
Supervisors, why y'all so damn nasty? It don't make no sense. Y'all be nasty. Y'all see another sister just got hired. Y'all just want to automatically just create this little level of competition, this little level of just really giving her a hard time for.
This isn't just something black men say. One of the most consistent complaints you'll hear from black women in the workplace is about black female bosses. That's not a fringe opinion. It comes up repeatedly across different industries and different spaces. And that's exactly the connection I'm trying to draw here. If you're the black woman publicly calling for solidarity, demanding that black women be protected, respected, and uplifted, but then behind closed doors you're undermining the black women who work for you out of jealousy or insecurity, something doesn't add up. And if that same energy carries over into how you treat black women as customers or clients, if you can justify providing them poor service or taking advantage of their trust, then you have to be honest about what that actually means. You're displaying the exact same behavior you've been criticizing black men for. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying this to deflect or point fingers unfairly. As a black man, I'll be the first to acknowledge that a lot of the dysfunction we see in the community starts with us. Many black men carry resentment and unresolved pain that affects how they treat both black women and other black men, whether they admit it or not.
Treating them like, they want their man, or being toxic, like the black women on the black mother on the black daughter relationship is horrible in the black community. Black women friendships suck. I've seen animals be friends longer than black women.
What makes this even more layered is how it shows up in positions of power and influence. When black women are placed in roles, whether political or financial, where they have direct authority over other black women, and that power is packaged under the banner of mentorship, sisterhood, and mutual support, what sometimes unfolds behind that packaging tells a very different story. In a number of these cases, if you look honestly at what's actually happening, you find something that's uncomfortable to name, but impossible to ignore. A genuine hostility that some black women carry toward other black women. And here's why that matters beyond just the immediate harm it causes. When trust breaks down between black women, when the scams happen, when the mistreatment happens, when the exploitation comes dressed up as empowerment, it doesn't just stay contained in those business or financial relationships. It bleeds into everything else, including romantic relationships with black men. People don't always make that connection, but it's there. The way you relate to the people closest to you, your friends, your mother, the women you do business with, shapes how you show up in every other relationship in your life. If those foundational bonds are fractured by betrayal or mistrust, that weight doesn't disappear when you enter a romantic partnership. It follows you in. And the same principle applies to black men. When black men genuinely respect and support one another, it reflects positively in how they engage with black women. The internal health of a group shapes its external relationships. That's not a controversial idea.